Most men over 45 make a silent mistake every day, and this habit destroys their hair capital without them really knowing it. They see their hair thinning, their hairline receding at the top of their head, and they tell themselves it's genetics, it's age, there's nothing to be done. But here's what no one has clearly explained to you yet. Hair loss after 45 is not just a matter of genetics. It is largely the result of a hormonal and metabolic process that you can influence. And in this video, I will give you the keys to understand it and take concrete action. Stay until the end, because I will talk to you about a natural topical remedy whose effectiveness had been measured at 86.9% results in a serious study. And I will explain how to make it even more powerful with a simple technique you can do at home. But above all, I will explain to you why this remedy alone will not be enough, and what the true root cause is that you absolutely need to correct if you want lasting results. On this channel, we do not sell hope. We provide you with information based on science, tailored to the biological reality of a man over 45. Because your body at 50 is not the same as at 30, and the generic advice found everywhere does not really apply to you. Let's start by understanding what is really happening in the scalp of a man over 45. Around each hair is what is called a hair follicle. This follicle is a small biological factory. It needs oxygen, energy, provided by cellular structures called mitochondria, specific nutrients, and a balanced hormonal environment to maintain hair growth. When one of these elements is compromised, the hair thins, shortens its cycle, and eventually disappears. Now here is the hormonal mechanism you need to understand. With age, your testosterone levels gradually decrease. This is male andropause, which affects a significant proportion of men after the age of 45. But paradoxically, another hormone, even more powerful than testosterone, tends to increase, DHT, dihydrotestosterone. DHT is produced when an enzyme, 5-alpha reductase, converts testosterone into this more active form. And DHT, when in excess, binds to the receptors of hair follicles located on the top of the scalp, not at the back, not on the sides, but precisely on the top, and triggers a miniaturization process. The follicles gradually shrink. The hair becomes thinner and shorter until it completely disappears, and the scalp takes on that shiny and smooth appearance that you know. Between 30 and 50% of men over 50 experience hair loss related to DHT. Androgenetic alopecia affects about half of men after 50. It's not uncommon, but here's what most sources don't clearly tell you. It's not just a matter of age and genetics. There is a major metabolic factor that significantly amplifies this process in men over 45. And that's where everything changes. This factor is insulin resistance. And I know you're wondering what blood sugar has to do with your hair. The answer is straightforward and scientifically documented. In cases of insulin resistance, this condition where your body produces insulin but no longer uses it effectively, affecting an increasing proportion of men over 45 who have a sedentary lifestyle or a diet high in refined carbohydrates, the enzyme 5-alpha reductase is overexpressed. This means that the conversion of testosterone to DHT accelerates. Insulin resistance also affects the liver, which no longer properly regulates androgen hormones. As a result, there is an increase in free testosterone available to be converted to DHT, and thus a direct acceleration of baldness. Here is something your doctor will probably never tell you during a hair assessment. Correcting your insulin resistance is one of the most effective actions you can take to slow down hair loss after 45. It's not a shortcut. It's the root cause. And if you don't tackle it, no topical remedy, no matter how effective, will yield lasting results. How to correct insulin resistance. Significantly reduce refined carbohydrates. No white bread, white rice, white pasta, industrial cookies, sodas. Practice intermittent fasting. By reducing your eating window to 8 hours a day, you allow your insulin to drop to baseline levels for long enough to restore your cells' sensitivity. Incorporate regular movement. Muscles, when they contract, absorb glucose without needing insulin, which directly reduces the insulin load. These three combined levers can reverse a pre-diabetic state in a few weeks and significantly slow the progression of your alopecia at the same time. But now, let's talk about what you can do locally to directly act on the follicular environment. And let's start with something remarkably simple and scientifically documented. Red onion juice? I know what you're thinking. It seems too simple, too old-fashioned. But here are the data. A study published in the Journal of Dermatology divided a group of participants into two. Half applied onion juice to their scalp. The other half used water. In 6 weeks, the onion juice group achieved 86.9% results in terms of significant hair regrowth. The water group, 13%. This is not an anecdote. It's a controlled study. Why is onion so effective? Several reasons. Onion is extraordinarily rich in sulfur, an essential component for the synthesis of keratin, the main protein of hair. It contains quercetin, a powerful antioxidant that protects follicles from oxidative stress, reduces follicular inflammation, this silent inflammation that suffocates follicles, and creates the scar tissue responsible for permanent baldness, and partially inhibits the activity of 5-alpha reductase, thereby reducing the conversion of testosterone to DHT directly at the scalp. And onion has antimicrobial properties that cleanse the scalp against yeasts, fungi, and pathogenic proliferations. They often involved in dandruff problems that weaken the follicles. Here's how to properly prepare and apply this remedy. Take an organic red onion. It is the one that contains the highest concentration of quercetin. Peel it, finely chop it, blend it in a blender, and then strain the puree through a cheesecloth or fine fabric to extract the pure liquid. Retrieve this juice in a small glass jar or a soft bottle. In the shower, wet your hair, then apply the juice while gently massaging the scalp for 2 to 3 minutes, focusing on the thinning areas. Step out of the shower and let it sit for at least 30 minutes, ideally an hour with a shower cap. Rinse thoroughly and shampoo twice to eliminate any residual odor. You will not have any lingering onion smell if you wash twice. Repeat this treatment twice a week for a minimum of 6 weeks. Now I will show you how to further amplify this remedy. 2 levels of optimization. First level, add 5 drops of rosemary essential oil to your onion juice. Rosemary oil is not a trivial addition. In 2015, a randomized clinical trial compared rosemary oil alone to minoxidil. One of the most commonly used medications for alopecia. Result, rosemary oil was as effective as minoxidil after 6 months. Its mechanism of action combines several effects particularly relevant for a 45-year-old man. It improves blood microcirculation in the scalp, just like minoxidil, which brings more oxygen and nutrients to the follicles. It reduces follicular inflammation. It partially inhibits 5-alpha reductase, reducing local DHT production. And it stimulates mitochondrial activity in follicular cells, damaged mitochondria being one of the underlying causes of hair growth cessation. Second level, ferment your onion juice. This step transforms an effective remedy into an exceptional one. Here's how to proceed. Peel and blend an organic red onion. Strain the pulp and pour the obtained juice into a glass jar. Add 250 milliliters of water, a teaspoon of unrefined sea salt, and half a teaspoon of raw unpasteurized honey. Mix well, then cover the jar with a cheesecloth or fine mesh fabric. Let it ferment at room temperature for 72 hours. You will see small bubbles of CO2 appear by the next day, a sign that fermentation is active. Why does fermentation amplify the effects? During fermentation, beneficial microorganisms break down the sugars in the onion and produce additional vitamins, particularly B vitamins, which directly nourish the follicles. Quercetin becomes more bioavailable. The pH of the juice stabilizes around 5, ideal for the male scalp. And the antimicrobial properties are amplified after 72 hours. Strain again through a cheesecloth, pour into a squeeze bottle, and apply as previously described. But the follicular environment doesn't stop at what you put on it. There is a therapy that almost no one mentions for male hair loss after 45, yet it is supported by a growing body of research, mechanical stimulation of the scalp through microneedling. Microneedling involves using a roller covered with microneedles that is gently passed over the scalp. These microperforations trigger a local repair process. They reactivate dormant follicular stem cells, partially break down the scar tissue that is formed around miniaturized follicles, improve the penetration of topical actives like onion juice and rosemary oil, and stimulate mitochondrial activity in follicular cells. Serious studies have shown that microneedling combined with a topical treatment is significantly more effective than topical treatment alone. Derma rollers with 0.5 millimeters needles are suitable for the scalp and readily available to be used once a week before applying the onion juice remedy. Alongside mechanical stimulation, there is red and near-infrared light therapy. When projecting light with a wavelength between 630 and 850 nanometers onto the scalp, it directly stimulates the mitochondria of follicular cells. Damaged or underactive mitochondria, which is precisely the case in miniaturized follicles, regain their ability to produce energy. And this energy is what allows the follicle to restart a growth cycle. Red light therapy helmets are now available at affordable prices, and published studies on this subject are encouraging. It is a serious complementary approach, not a gadget. Now let's talk about essential nutrients. Because even with all the topical remedies in the world, if your body lacks the raw materials necessary for hair construction, the results will remain limited. And after 45, deficiencies are common, often silent. First, zinc. Zinc is a trace element that directly modulates the activity of 5-alpha reductase, the enzyme that converts testosterone into DHT. Studies show that zinc supplementation can reduce hair loss by up to 75% in the long term by strengthening keratin production. The recommended dose, 30 to 40 milligrams per day. Priority food sources for a 45-year-old man: oysters, red meat, pumpkin seeds, cashews. Pumpkin seeds deserve special mention. They are both rich in zinc and contain phytonutrients that inhibit 5-alpha reductase, a double anti-DHT effect directly relevant to your alopecia. Next, vitamin D is involved in many mechanisms related to hair growth, particularly in the activation of follicular stem cells and the stimulation of growth factors. However, more than 70% of French men over 45 are deficient in vitamin D, especially in winter and spring. The recommended dose, at least 2,000 to 4,000 IU per day as a supplement, ideally with regular sunlight. Ask your doctor to measure your 25-OH vitamin D levels. You will likely be surprised. Poultry or beef liver are consumed once or twice a week. Tricarsa is one of the richest foods in heme iron, zinc, copper, and selenium that you can find. These 4 minerals are essential for keratin synthesis and follicular health. Sauerkraut, naturally fermented, Morsel also deserves a place in your diet. It is among the most concentrated sources of natural vitamin C, essential for collagen synthesis that structures the follicle sheath. And its polyphenols help reduce the systemic inflammatory environment that destroys your follicles. Now let's recap the complete 3-level strategy tailored for a man over 45 who wants real results. Level 1 in the root cause: correct insulin resistance. Reduce refined carbohydrates. Practice intermittent fasting. Move regularly. Without this, everything else is just a band-aid on a hemorrhage. Level 2, the local follicular environment. Apply fermented red onion juice with 5 drops of rosemary oil twice a week, leaving it on for an hour. Use a 0.5 millimeter derma roller once a week before application. Consider red light therapy sessions to reactivate follicular mitochondria. Level 3, internal nutritional support. Zinc, 30 to 40 milligrams per day. Vitamin D3, 2,000 to 4,000 IU minimum. Hemi iron via liver once or twice a week. Natural vitamin C via sauerkraut and pumpkin seeds regularly for their dual action of zinc and DHT inhibition. These 3 levels work in synergy. The effects are not immediate. Wait 3 to 4 weeks before seeing the first signs of regrowth. And 6 weeks of regular treatment for visible improvement. Patience is a component of the protocol. This is not magic. This is not a miracle product. These are documented biological mechanisms applied consistently, tailored to the hormonal and metabolic realities of a man over 45 years old. Before I leave you, a sincere question for the comments. What is your biggest obstacle when it comes to taking care of your hair, time, products, or not knowing where to start? Your responses directly determine the next content of this channel. I read everything. If this video has brought you something concrete, subscribe. Every week, content on male vitality after 45, without miracle products, without exaggeration, just what really works for your body at your age. Share this video with the man in your circle who is silently struggling with his hair. Sometimes the best thing we can do for someone is to give them the information they need. Take care of yourself. Your body can regenerate. It just needs you to give it the right tools at the right time.